This is another letter that we're sending to the politicians via the Governor General. It's concerning the Eiffel Tower, the Pentagon, the Statue of Liberty, and of course Mary Magdalene. Now, Revelation 9:11 is all about Apollo, the Apollo missions, and Apollon, which is the destroyer Satan or Lucifer. Now, originally the Eiffel Tower was planned to be a gigantic guillotine. The Freemason cult so powerful, these monsters had caused the French Revolution and of course the guillotine. But that goes back to the Jews today, that's the Khazars, the Rothschilds, that are trying to introduce the Noahide laws and have guillotines in the FEMA camps and FEMA trains in America. By beheading someone, it is the ultimate invasion of the soul. That's why they do it. So the location of the tower is 3,333 nautical miles from the Pentagon. Now, Eiffel himself was a steel baron, and he was into building all things around the earth, but in particular the Eiffel Tower and the Statue of Liberty. The 33 number is, of course, why they have the 3333 as a distance to the Pentagon. Now, they use sacrifice as a weapon because it's the opposite of love. It's fear and terror. They hold people in positions of power, like John Howard, for example, or the Prime Minister of Australia today, or the President of the United States, and so forth. If they step out of line, they'll kill them and their family, and they'll do it in a very slow, deliberate, cruel way. So Australia is the key. Now, Janelle and I had arranged viewers from all around the world who would forward our letters to the Governor General and the Parliament on November the 27th, 2009. So half the government and ministers have resigned in protest of what the government is planning to do. So this is a very specific point in time that we have got through to these people, and they realise that there's something terribly wrong, especially when we are now very well known and have been up in New Guinea curing AIDS and cancer and so forth. So the location of the Eiffel Tower is 3,333 nautical miles, but the Titanic, it was sunk as a sacrifice 3,333 miles from the North Pole. So here we have the Eiffel Tower. So Freemasonry and the Rothschild banking conglomerate used these locations and latitudes and longitudes and distances between key locations, bearings of course, from a point to a point, or heights or widths, or all sorts of configurations, all calculated to convey a message to the initiates, especially when they build them themselves and locate them themselves. So they're laughing at you and me, the Lord. Now, the bearing shown in the Greek dictionary is 917 from 2919. A decision, the function or the effect for or against crime, avenge, condemn, condemnation, damnation, and judgment. Now, they use the languages as a guide. The King James 1611 Bible was, after all, a Freemason Bible until they only realised in later times that it was a trap, but they were locked in because all these structures they had built on the basis of the numbers revealed in the concordances of the New and Old Testament, and of course Mary Magdalene, key figure. Do you think they would kill me if they could? Well, they certainly have tried, but that doesn't work. Can't kill God. Now, the sacrifices of 9/11 in 2001 was 86.41 years after the Titanic. 864 was the width of the sun, in miles, 864,000 miles wide. And remember, a solar eclipse can only occur because the moon is 1/400th the width of the sun, and it's 400 times closer. So when I did the original Titanic, the moment it sank, the star above said it was sinking into the sea. So they set it all up to line up with the stars. The 8641 is something offered up, especially in sacrifice, as a tribute. So here we have then the distance to the Pentagon, 3333.54 nautical miles. Now consider an engineering team would choose a location and honour their god Lucifer. We will do the same thing in the future, not so. So the Dome of the Rock, latitude is 3146, 4132 by 3514 is 777. Add the number 3146 and 3514 and you have 6660. The 3146 is from 3148 to flog to scourge. It's no surprise that the 9/11 Twin Towers date was a Pentagon spade turning ceremony 60 years precisely before when the missile hit the Pentagon. The missing plane, of course, was simply flown out to sea because it was all done by satellite. It's called a home run. If the pilot of a plane is killed in America, the satellite can take it over automatically and fly it to any airport and land it, or in this case take it out to sea and crash it. So it's all a slap in the face to the Lord. Now Mary conceived on September the 11th, 3 BC, and I was born on June the 17th, 2 BC. That's why the emergency phone number 911 and Madrid train bombing occurred 911 days after September the 11th, 2001. Measuring from 9/11 Twin Towers to the Pentagon has to be significant, so the Freemason cult would not have missed the opportunity. The bearing is 232.78 degrees, and 2327 is harvester, reaper, harvesting the crop. They're doing it by taking life away from the person they believe they're harvesting for Satan. Now, the distance 2055 is a kidling, symbolically a wicked person, a goat. And what was Bush doing when the Twin Towers came down? He was reading a book about goats. So here we have 8163, which is the satar, meaning a devil. So he was reading about a kid goat. The distance in nautical miles, 178.61, is, or from the Pentagon to the Twin Towers, is 50.83 degrees, and it's akin to 2334. To guard loss or injury, keeping an eye upon, that's the eye of Lucifer, the all-seeing eye, differing from 5442, which is probably a to prevent escaping. So the people locked up in there could not escape. That's the whole idea of this. And so it is 3333 nautical miles from the Eiffel Tower to the Pentagon, the Devil's Pentagram. It is associated with Venus that formed the pentagram in space during the two transits of Venus across the face of their sun god Ra, and Venus, represented by their interpretation of who Mary Magdalene was, she they believed to be the reincarnate of Cleopatra, represented by the pregnant statue of Liberty.